So Capcom has released Ghosts and Goblins Resurrection for the Nintendo Switch, and as expected, the game is absolutely awesome. The game manages to be a love letter to all of us that passionately played the original, all while still managing to be a completely unique experience in and of itself. But this isn't the first time we've seen an outstanding remake of this classic franchise. In 2006, Capcom released Ultimate Ghosts and Goblins for the PlayStation Portable. Because this game was only a handheld release, I feel like a lot of people slept on this title. So that's what I want to do today. I want to take these two awesome modern style remakes and compare them and see which one is actually better. So as I previously stated, Ultimate Ghosts and Goblins came out in 2006. And this game came out during a time period where we saw a lot of remakes of retro games. A lot of games that came out from the 8-bit and 16-bit era were being re-released with this 2.5D gameplay style, where the game still played on a 2D plane, but had a 3D graphics upgrade. We saw games like Mega Man Powered Up, Mega Man Maverick Hunter X, even Konami got in the action with Castlevania Dracula X Chronicles. Ultimate Ghosts and Goblins is arguably one of the best of these remakes, with a graphical style that looks amazing for the time period, enhanced game mechanics that actually introduced a variety of new weapons, power-ups, and magical add-ons. It added a whole new level of depth to an already great game. The game sported a variety of new features, armor upgrades, magical spells, and kick-ass weapons that you weren't able to use in the original. Really make this game one of the absolute best versions of Ghosts and Goblins that's out there. The difficulty level is still unforgiving like the original, but you have the ability to lower the difficulty, which is what I'm doing here because it's damn hard to capture footage when you're dying every 5 seconds. The game is pretty to look at, fun to play, and in my opinion, one of the absolute best games on the PlayStation Portable. At its core, it's pretty much a retelling of the original game with updated graphics and gameplay. Switching over to Ghosts and Goblins Resurrection, they dropped the 3D style graphics in favor of a more hand-drawn style, which creates some absolutely beautiful visuals. This game's art style puts it right up there with a game like Cuphead, with how unique and just absolutely gorgeous it is. Gameplay-wise, it's absolutely merciless, and every bit as difficult as the original, and maybe even slightly more difficult than what Ultimate Ghosts and Goblins was. The game isn't so much a remake as it is a kind of complete reimagining, almost like a quasi-sequel, if you will. It basically takes the original formula and completely expands upon it. I love the way you get to choose your path as you progress through the game, adding a whole layer of depth and complexity. The game really manages to suck you in. And for those of us who are familiar with Ghosts and Goblins, the game feels familiar enough for us to feel at home, but foreign enough to feel like a completely different experience. If you're a fan of action platformers, this is definitely one of the best ones on the Nintendo Switch console. So now, which game do I actually think is better? That's a really difficult decision to make because these are both great games. But I narrowed my decision down to 3 categories: visuals, gameplay, and intangibles. On the visual side of things, although Ultimate Ghosts and Goblins is an absolutely beautiful to look at game, I feel like that hand-drawn style of Resurrection beats it out by the narrowest margin. It's extremely unique, and every time I look at it, I'm just in awe at the amazing world they were able to create. Now, I know it's kind of not fair to compare a game that came out in 2021 to a game that came out in 2006, but trust me when I tell you, Ultimate Ghosts and Goblins is still a great looking game, not just for its time period, but even by today's standards. I just feel the uniqueness of Resurrection's style definitely needs to be noted. So in the visuals department, Ghosts and Goblins Resurrection definitely gets the nod. Now when it comes to actual gameplay, I feel the game that closely resembles the original, ironically, is Ghosts and Goblins Resurrection. The game that wasn't intended to be a complete remake but more of a reimagining actually feels more like the original than the game that was designed to be a remake. Although it's great that Ghosts and Goblins Resurrection has the same clunky robotic movement that the original game had, I got really spoiled by Ultimate Ghosts and Goblins. Arthur moves just a little bit quicker, a little bit more dynamic, and all of the customizations in terms of armor upgrades, power-ups, and the variety of weapons, I really enjoy the way Ultimate Ghosts and Goblins plays. Some of you purists out there may disagree, but Ultimate Ghosts and Goblins is the better playing game, hands down in my opinion. Now when it comes to intangibles, it's impossible to ignore all of the great things that Ghosts and Goblins Resurrection does. Choosing your path before you play a level, the decision to include multiplayer, the creativeness of level design. Ultimate Ghosts and Goblins accomplished this really well also, but compared to Ghosts and Goblins Resurrection, falls a little bit short. So as strange as this is going to sound, The game that I can see myself playing more in the long run is Ultimate Ghosts and Goblins. But the game that I actually think is better in terms of feature, gameplay, and development is definitely Ghosts and Goblins Resurrection. At the end of the day, you can't go wrong with either of these games. They're both awesome and are both must-owns on their respected consoles. Personally, I'd love to see more remakes like this pop up on the Nintendo Switch. Let me know what you guys think in the comments section. Which game do you think is better, Ultimate Ghosts and Goblins or Ghosts and Goblins Resurrection? Hope you guys enjoyed. Until next time, this is Ness, signing out.